Hi, I'm Virginia Gilbert, the writer and director of Reawakening.
Hello, I'm Erin Doherty and I play Claire.
This is Juliet Stevenson.
This is Jared Harris.
And we are in the movie Reawakening.
Reawakening is the story of a middle-aged couple, John, who's played by Jared Harris, and Mary, played by Juliet Stevenson, who, when we meet them, have lived in a sort of agonizing limbo of loss and grief and uncertainty for the past 10 years. Because 10 years ago, their teenage daughter, Claire, ran away from home and no trace of her has ever been found.
Obviously had a devastating effect on both of them. They've managed to keep their marriage together. And then 10 years later, a young woman shows up and she's claiming to be their daughter.
She's here. Who's here? Claire.
And the mother, the wife, accepts her immediately, but the father doesn't recognize her.
What would happen if she came back? I mean, that's just it's a story with a huge emotional hook on it.
The way it's written, this story is such a gorgeous expression and exploration of grief and hope and what it means to have the internal battle of both things existing in you at the same time.
You start to question as to who's right between the husband and the wife as to how you deal with grief.
There's a thriller element. Who's right? Mary right or John right? Is she or isn't she?
John, he's an electrician. He's a trained hobbyist enthusiast in his spare time. He's lived quite a straight, ordered life, very structured life. When their daughter disappears, he finds it hard to accept that she's gone, and he spends the next 10 years looking for her.
You think she's still alive?
There's no reason to think otherwise.
If she is, seems like she don't want to be found.
But what kind of a father would I be if I didn't keep looking?
So Mary is, a very decent, ordinary person. If this hadn't happened to her, she would have lived a very unremarkable and decent, good life. She comes home from work one day, Mary, and sitting on the wall near the front door of the house is their daughter, 10 years on. And that wave, that tsunami, of feeling hits her.
She had that look. She had that same look that she used to have when she wanted to say sorry.
And then as they go their different ways, she and John, in response to that event, she's more and more challenged, between Claire, the daughter, John, the husband. And of course, that's either going to probably pull her down or it's going to make her reach down and find strengths. And you do see her changing. You do see her, in a way, becoming much more released as a person.
Not a trace of you anywhere. Anywhere. No recordings, no sightings, nothing.
You leave her be!
I think it's such a fascinating exploration of this kind of triangle almost of these three characters, and each avenue that they choose to go down is, I think, really relatable but vastly different. And so to be a part of exploring that and exposing those human behaviours, I just wanted to be a part of it.
I had always pitched it as the story of grief masquerading as a psychological thriller.
It was a no-brainer, really, for me. I thought it was a completely wonderful script. I mean, it was an amazing story. I think, you read a script, the first thing you respond to is, what's a human event? And this human event just reaches out and grabs your heart.
It was really well written. It was about something. There's a plot, but then there's sort of themes that have been developed. It's always the story as well. You have a script, are you interested in the story, and if you keep turning the pages and you're interested in the story, and then how's the story told,
Of course, you have a wish list of actors. It's very, very rare that your wish list comes true, but in this particular production, I think the gods of film were smiling on us. Jared Harris's work I have admired for many, many years. I think he is one of our great actors. He's a true chameleon in the sense that every single character he's ever played is utterly three-dimensional, and he manages to completely disappear within a role. Juliet Stevenson, again, one of our great talents. I have had the privilege to know her for a number of years, and she was absolutely my first choice for the role of Mary, because I knew that she would be able to bring a real rooted complexity to what is quite a psychologically challenging role. And Erin was head and shoulders #1 on my list. I'd been blown away by her in The Crown, I'd seen her in Chloe, and again, an actor who is utterly transformative.
Working with Juliet and Jared and Ginny, it was really special to get in from day one with these incredible people and just went through the script together and spoke about character choices and artistic choices, the shorthand that we all had together and the dedication that we all knew that we had to serving this piece as best we could was really special.
The actors were incredibly generous with their time, so I had a lot of individual meetings with them. We did manage to get an afternoon all together the day before we started shooting, which was incredibly valuable because it was more an opportunity to discuss all the backstories and questions and the texture of these people rather than rehearsing specific scenes. Although you're always under incredible time pressure and so on a shoot, we would make it a priority to carve out about an hour to clear the set, just have the actors on set with me and the director of photography, and really get the scene working. But with the caliber of actors that we had, it wasn't so much about rehearsing, it was exploring, and that's joyful.
For me, prep is my favourite part of the job. A lot of it was about the care system and homelessness and the impacts of what that has on someone's life, physically, mentally.
In this one, honestly, I find everything was there in the script, really. I think most of the prep in this one went into the sort of learning about the accent and did a little bit of diving into the psychological process that goes through parents whose children have disappeared.
It was more a question of creating a specific backstory for her that felt right for the piece. So the prep, if any, was to sort of come together with Jared, who I didn't know, and find a way of creating our backstory together as a couple.
We had very, very carefully thought about the use of extremely long lenses for John's emotional world, his inner world, a different feel for flashes of memory, the lighting design that subtly evolves over the course of the film. So Claire, her name means light in French, and so when Claire enters the story, our lighting design brightens. The shoot could be described as a joyful inferno. We shot in one of the hottest heat waves that England has ever known, and that did not abate for the 22 days of filming. But overall, it was a very harmonious and extremely enriching shoot.
I would define a happy and creative shoot as one where you've got a very good script, you've got very good working relationship with your other actors and your director and your team, and everybody's gathered around the room, and there's just this space within the frame of the camera where everybody's skills, you're all focused on making that little moment as electric and truthful as possible. And I think it was one of those shoots where I felt we were all basically swinging in the same direction. And as an actor, we were very respected, and acting was given its space on the set. Sometimes you can feel very marginal, and it's basically a technical exercise, and keep out the way. And I don't think I felt that at all on this. I felt that John and Mary's story and Claire's were always in everybody's minds, and that's the beauty of a small crew, really, is that you can stay focused on the story and the human event.
There was discussion on set with Juliet. That was something that she liked to do. Because when you read a script, you've got a really good idea of what you think it is, but you've got no idea what other people think it is. And then when you get on set and you start playing with it, you go, oh, they're doing it that way. It didn't occur to me you could do it that way. And it's exciting. That one thing that sticks out, one of those really great discoveries that you make, was that scene in the hallway where Juliet character says that she's come back. It just suddenly, I don't think we have even discussed what that was supposed to be. It's just one of those things where I think after a couple of takes, and it just suddenly, it took off in a different direction.
No, yes, but wait, just, John. Oh. Just breathe, sweetheart. Breathe. Breathe out.
The film is extremely emotional and moving, and psychologically, I think, compelling and quite complex. But it touches on very, very universal themes. I do believe that this is a film that can touch a great many people. And ultimately, it's a very hopeful film.